Over the last 5 years, I've talked about over 100 monster trucks on this channel, but I'm bound to gloss over that one truck. So this video is dedicated to a few trucks I've neglected talking about in any form. There are no restrictions, indie or MJ owned, it doesn't matter. So let's get started. What a better way to start off this video than with copyright infringement. Rambo was originally created as a lifted display truck by Bill Weaver Jr. The second Rambo was a leafer before being reconstructed to be longer. The truck appeared as Macho Maniac in the 1990 movie Quick Change. The following year, the truck won its first Thunder Nationals championship and the only for Weaver. The third Rambo is what people think of if they remember this truck, as Mike Nitsky would pilot it to two back-to-back Thunder Nationals champions in 2000 and 2001 respectively. In 2004, the truck was retired, despite getting a die-cast release the following year. The chassis was sold to Charles Benz, who converted it into Pitbull, then later converted into MAGA Monster. Yes, this existed. Before, it was sold to South Korea and converted into Monster X, which still runs today. Not much information on this truck despite running for over a decade, except for rumors that the truck allegedly ran over a young girl in the pits after a show. But anyway, Liquidator was created and driven by Robert Fisher until selling the chassis in 1999 to John Seesock, who converted into the second Sudden Impact, which ran the identity until 2008. The chassis is supposed to be converted into Violent Impact, but that is yet to come to fruition because of naming issues, since John Seesock hasn't owned the Sudden Impact name since he sold the team to Brendan Lagarde in 2004. In 2021, Mike Wales, a driver who began his career in this truck, was posthumously inducted into the Monster Jam Hall of Fame along with Gary Porter. Arguably the most famous truck on this list, Dragon Slayer was created in 1995 by soon-to-be veteran Craig Christensen. The first chassis lasted only a year before the second one was built in 1997. The original was sold to Jimmy Creedon and converted into the second Bounty Hunter. A third Dragon Slayer was built in 1999, which would debut the iconic Hummer design. A fourth Slayer was built, with the third being converted into Thunderstruck in 2004. The original plan was to have the third chassis converted into a Gravedigger, but was shot down after the Gravedigger team was sold to the USHRA. In 2007, the truck would run a new paint scheme sponsored by Tough Country Suspensions, before the truck was retired a year later after Craig left his own team to drive Iron Outlaw in 2008. Then Maximum Destruction as a replacement for Neil Elliott in 2009, before going to Donkey Kong after Frank Kreml moved to Blue Thunder the following year, and then he went back to Maximum Destruction full-time until 2013. The fourth Dragon Slayer chassis was sold and converted into Western Renegade. Dragon Slayer ran its last Monster Jam event in 2008 in Salt Lake City under Brian Christensen. In 2017, the truck was resurrected with a new body style, a Jeep Gladiator. The truck was driven until the ultimate end of Craig Christensen's career in November of 2022. Shockwave. It exists. Moving on. Alright, fine. I'll actually talk about Shockwave. Shockwave was converted from the old ECW wrestling truck, which was originally the original Rap Attack. In 2010, the truck suffered a horrible crash that I cannot believe I didn't mention in my obscure indie video. The truck would later be sponsored by Cheeseburger, yeah, that's a name, up until 2016. The truck still runs as of 2023. I hope I gave this truck justice now. High Roller was originally made to advertise the World Finals 3 pay-per-view up until the World Finals itself, serving as a new mystery truck that will debut at World Finals. At World Finals 3, it would run as Hot Wheels under Elton Depew. The truck would stick around in 2003 when the truck would be run by Phil Foster. Steve Reynolds did a one-off in the second Pontiac show where he would completely trash his chassis. In 2004, the truck would be its last year running, as it would be run by Lonnie Childress, who would be the truck's swan song driver. The truck was retired a month before World Finals 5. In 2010, a diecast was made after originally being canceled in 2005. Inferno was created as a replacement to WCW Nitro Machine when the company it was sponsored by was absorbed by the World Wrestling Federation in mid-2001. The truck ran on what was the third Gravedigger chassis, which was repainted yellow, because the last color that comes to my mind when I think of Inferno is lime green. For the truck's entire lifespan, it was driven by a mix of drivers, from soon-to-bes like Chad Fortune to unknowns like Brian Winston and Fletcher Lewis. Inferno would run mainly arena and obscure stadium shows in the early 2000s, as the truck would only get one televised appearance in 2002, at least in America. The truck would participate in the first Monster Jam event held in France in 2002, as well as the exhibition event the year prior. The truck ran exclusively in Europe for its final season in 2006 on a recycled Hot Wheels body. After 2006, the truck was retired. Until 2012, when it made a one-off encore in East Rutherford with FD&Y. Despite the black paint scheme running once, die-casts of it were made all the way until 2016. In 2018, the original paint scheme was released as a flashback after having been canceled in 2003. The only non-American truck on this list, Sheer Insanity, was created from Marvin Anderson's Wild Thing, not Wild Thang, in 2001 and ran mainly in its native Canada. The truck's only noteworthy achievement was winning the 2010 Arena Wheelie of the Year. In 2017, the chassis was destroyed along with teammate TNT's in a fire. In 2022, the truck was resurrected on what was originally Natural High's chassis. Oh dear. I can't believe I forgot to add this to Obscure Independence, but here we are. Heartbreaker was originally converted from the original Arachnophobia and was driven by Kayla Savage, wife of martial law driver Paul Strong. She mainly ran arena shows from Monster Jam and got a diecast release in 2012. However, the truck was famous for its many backflip stunts in the backflip's early years. In 2015, the truck was sold to Larry Quick, who ran on the original chassis until 2020. Definitely the name for a truck ever. Ice was converted from the original Tough Enough chassis in 2009, and the truck was co-driven by Jordan Austin and Amy Perry. The truck was sponsored by Bud Light, which technically makes it the Bud Light Ice. Like that's going to make the name any better. The truck is most famous for running in the first 2010 Pontiac event. Other than that, it's a truly obscure truck. In 2012, the chassis was converted into Temper Tantrum, and all semblance of its past life has melted away, just like its sponsor's reputation. Don't go too crazy, MLG era memers. The final truck of the video is Illuminator, created in 2010 by Jay Snyder, who also owned Screamin' Demon up until Illuminator's creation, in which he would abandon Screamin' Demon. As if the name wasn't a dead giveaway, the truck was known to illuminate during intros, but never freestyled like that. What a missed opportunity. The truck would appear on Last Weekend Tonight, for some reason. Snyder owned the truck until 2014 when he sold it to Jeffrey Gottwald, I hope I said that right, who owned it until 2022 when Jay Snyder would buy back the truck. As Emperor Lemon would say, if you watch something for long enough, things will come full circle. So what'd you think? It was fun finding out stuff about monster trucks. Some just kind of just walk on by. Who knows, maybe there'll be a part 2, but thanks for watching in the meantime. Catch you on the flip side.